Look, I keep this shit 50 times 2. Ain't no more heart in this game, I'm John Q. Colder than the avalanche, way above average. Revenge taste sweet, told her to make me an average. Left us in the valley full of bones, this is where I whole fam. Shout out to the man, dog's hands get broke down. Brad, do dance to a mall bar. Telling me how to crack us from this child to a ghost town. Poke a sock in the eye, let it rain down. I feel his pain, cause nothing is the same now. Let my light shine like heaven through a rain cloud. Glock have a fit like my chad, so pain. Try to warn them niggas, we play all like terrain. The more niggas rap, I make anthems. I really see problems under this banner. Make my enemies bow down on camera. Told my design I want it black and white like a panda. I'm better than that nigga that's so dirty that handle. Look, I move like a Brazilian, precious Fargo. Spirit Asian, but I got a run. See me on over. Wave that bitch around like where it's going over. Sleep if they want. I cut through they seeds like I'm Zorro. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think I squeeze till it click like Thorby when the heel touch. The world got me dumb, I don't feel much. Round with y'all dumb, just left the state bridge. Looking for a bitch better than baby. Remember I dropped twice gone, I've been gone ever since. Still in the field for them niggas on the fence, yeah.
You got the microphone set up over there?
Yeah. On 44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man. When that shit drop, you step all the way on their necks. They don't deal with that shit. I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like a Samuel. I got time to kill. They just thought I died. I survived. They don't hide it. Got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how it is. Iceberg, he don't show the skills. Show the skills. But he don't work it out. I work the wheel. I'm too solid, sugar tight. Yeah, vacuum seal. They know they run like ice. I ain't worried. I got rank from there. I got rigor, so just kill. So, nigga, watch yourself. They say you been in beast mode.
All right, let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. Brief synopsis for Wagga Ball with the law and history class. Man, it's been a lot happening. All right. We'll get a sound check. Everybody hear me? It's been a lot happening past few weeks, past few days. We're gonna get into it. Pull up an article with if you could pull up an article with the rapper that just killed. We're gonna get into some current events, get into a little bit of law, and you know we're gonna touch on some history. That's what we do. If it wasn't for history, if it wasn't for us learning our history, we wouldn't even know who we are today. History is very important. You got a microphone? All right.
There's an article by the CNN News. Rapper PNB Rock fatally shot at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles. Police say the rapper PNB Rock was fatally shot during a robbery in Los Angeles Monday. Los Angeles Police Department Chief Michael Moore said Tuesday police respond to a possible robbery at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles on West Manchester Avenue at 1:15 p.m., where they found a victim with multiple gunshot wounds. LAPD Captain Kelly Muniz said during a news conference Monday evening. Moore confirmed the victim was identified as Rakeem Allen, also known as PNB Rock, during a Tuesday meeting with Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Just yesterday was a very high-profile murder that occurred in the Southeast area, local restaurant involving a music artist by the name of PNB Rock. Moore said, and Mr. Rakeem Allen was apparently there with his girlfriend or a friend of his, and there they are enjoying a simple meal. Allen was brutally attacked by an individual who apparently, we believe, came to the location after a social media posting of the artist and the woman accompanying him. Moore said a picture of the pair's meal had been posted on Instagram with the location tagged. He said a black man attacked the rapper at the restaurant, demanding his property. PNB Rock had an extensive amount of jewelry and other valuables, Moore said. After a verbal exchange, the suspect shot the victim multiple times and fled in a getaway car in no direction. According to Muniz, the victim was transported to a local hospital and died at 1:59 p.m.
Damn. His brother passed away. And a lot of people were upset because this brother's rib had posted a location, right? Then a lot of people saying you shouldn't wear jewelry. You should, if you're an artist, you shouldn't be walking around like, you're a regular person, because you're no longer a regular person. You got all that notoriety. Everybody know who you are. Everybody know you're a target. You're basically a walking target, right? And Black and Hispanic people, what I also heard them say is, why would you be in that area? Why would you be in a part of Los Angeles where it's known to go down? Why would you go to that particular Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and not another one, right? And also that this is, broke nigga energy. You got to watch out for low lifes and niggas that don't got nothing and they want to take something, right? The problem is this is a horrible situation. This is a sad situation because the brother lost his life in front of his baby, his child, and his wife, right? So they're both going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives, right? And from what I'm hearing is it was an altercation. So he wasn't giving up the jewelry, correct? He wasn't going to give up the jewelry. And what you see is something that happens all the time in the Black community, but we don't hear about it. You don't know it. There's brothers that have no name, that have no celebrity status, and die the same death as this brother, PNB Rock. So like it, I never had heard of the brother until he passed away, right? And that's like a lot of musicians, you don't hear about them or you don't know about them until something tragic like this happens, right? The point is that we as Black and I'm speaking to Israelite men, we as men, we've become weak in America. We've lost all our strength, right? And that's a product of Christianity. We are ultra effeminized, ultra like gangbanging. And I'm not just saying this is because of that, but I'm just saying the street mentality, and we come from the streets, living in the streets, gang banging, hustling, putting in work, hitting licks, and you're doing all of these things against your own people, right? In our community, we look like at that as that's masculinity. It's a masculine thing to go shoot someone. It's masculine to go hold somebody up at gunpoint and rob them for all their jewelry, right? I think you got to just think in a way like, what will come out of that? What time did this happen? 1 o'clock in the middle of the day. Do you really think you're gonna get away? Think about the type of decision making that we have, and I'm not saying it's okay to hit a lick, to rob somebody, to murder somebody, but in the middle of the day, in broad daylight, in a famous establishment, cameras are everywhere. Now you go back to wherever your neighborhood is at, and nobody wants to deal with you. Everybody knows that you're hot. You can't do any damn thing with the jewelry that you took off of the man while he was dying. You can't do a damn thing with. Who are you going to give it to? Who are you going to sell it to? Don't nobody want that, right? So the clock is just ticking for the authorities to get you and lock you up for the rest of your life, man. But we have become very, very hyper. They call it masculinity, but really it's hyper emotionalism when it comes to black men. Super emotional. And that goes for hoods, for gangs. Black and Hispanic men are super emotional. They have the anger management of a teenager. Your whole damn criminal career, your anger management is that of a 13-year-old. Whereas you go from being angry to physically doing something to somebody, to hurting somebody that's 9 times out of 10, it's your brother. It's somebody that looks just like you, somebody that's struggling just like you. You understand? A lot of times I say, like, why in the hell, if you really and once again, we don't condone violence. I'm not saying go do anything, but if you're really so super gangster, if it's really about you, about a black man being poor and being in poverty and needing to get somewhere, needing to get some money, if it's really about that, then why are you doing it to your people who are poor? Why aren't you going across town to the white neighborhoods and doing it to white people, right? Why, if you really is about hitting a lick, once again, I'm not saying I don't advocate that. So if it's really about that, then logically you would say, why aren't you going to do that where people really got money, where people really can really let it go, can say, here, take whatever you want, right? Instead, you go to a brother that's just like you, that's going to fight you and is probably not going to give up his jewelry, and you murder him. Now 2 lives are destroyed, man. We are led to the slaughter in this place. We are dying, right? We're in a rush to die in the black community. We're in a rush to destroy ourselves in the black community. Let me get a scripture. Let me get it real quick. It was Deuteronomy. You can post your questions and comments. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 29. Israel, you can post your questions and comments in the chat. And I get to them when I see them.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 29. Thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and there shall be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
What else? Go skip up to verse. What verse? Skip up to verse 28.
Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Verse 29. And thou shalt grow up at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
Right. And so we'll be like a blind man. The decisions that we make in the Black community, the things that we talk about in the Black community, we will be like somebody that does not know their way. That is, they're reaching. You know how a blind person, they're searching with the cane and they're trying not to bump into things and not to, twist their ankle and step in a hole or something, right? That's the Black and Hispanic community. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
And we shall not prosper in our ways, man. And this is the prime example. What I'm talking about is the decisions that we make as Black and Hispanic men in our community to prosper. We don't prosper in those ways. Those ways that we choose to go along, such as gang banging, such as hitting licks, such as being a big time drug dealer, such as being a pimp, those things do not prosper us. Read that again.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt be oppressed and spoiled evermore.
And we shall be oppressed and spoiled evermore. This is just another thing for other communities to look at Black and Hispanic people like, look at those niggas. They kill senselessly. They have no conscience for life, for humanity, right? They'll kill a man for some jewelry in front of his children, his wife and children, right? Thinking that that's the way to prosper. Thinking that that's the way that you're going to come up and your life going to change. Like your life is supposed to change for the better. But you're supposed to go back to the hood and show everybody, look what I did. I got that nigga chain. What the hell does that even mean? What does that mean? Gangbanging has no answers for Black and Hispanic men. Pimping has no answers for Black and Hispanic men. None of the things that we choose to do because we turn our back from the Lord, none of these things can fix us, and we are oppressed forevermore. We are oppressed, and we are stressed out. We are depressed, right? Suicidal, and we hate ourselves, all because we chose to be a people that wanted to do what they wanted to do, which is follow your own ways. Do it, follow what you want, do what you want to do. And that's why we're here. The conscious community, Islam, the NOI, none of them have the answers for what is going on in our community. And this is not something that is new. Like when they talk about you can't wear your jewelry anymore, hell, people have been getting robbed since the beginning of time, right? Just because somebody got robbed for their jewelry don't mean I'm not going to wear mine. Brothers wear jewelry every day. I'm sure brothers wear jewelry in Inglewood and in LA every day, and they didn't get robbed. A gunman didn't come up and ask for their jewelry, right? They don't have to worry about that. It's the image that this society pushes. It's the image that the music industry pushes, that when you have all of this stuff on and they be having the money like a block of cheese by their head on every video. It's an image, right? And when you're in poverty and you're looking at your phone and you looking at this brother and you thinking in your mind, he got it. And what he got, it's my chance. I don't know what the nigga was thinking. Yeah, somebody must have called him and said, guess who's here? He must have said, it's my chance. It's my chance to change my life, to hit this lick. Then I'm gonna go to Vegas. That's where they always go. We in San Bernardino County. We in IE. When people commit crimes out here, the first place they run to is when they on the run, they go to Vegas. But anyway, we're gonna drop that. It's a sad story, but this is not nothing new in the Black and Hispanic community. I hate that whenever you hear something, and I wanted to bring this out too. Today, the story came out. Four high school students in Hollywood overdosed on fentanyl, and one of them died. Right? What they thought they was getting was, I think they thought they was getting ecstasy pills, but they were laced with fentanyl. Right? And they didn't show the pictures. You don't know. I mean, it's Hollywood. You don't know the ethnicity of the kids, but you got an idea of who they are. And it's even more solidified, excuse me, when they had the press conference, they were vowing to get the person who sold those drugs to these teenagers. You see, when it comes to their children, they don't play. When it comes to their children, they are trying, the oppressor, he wants justice, right? And we should be the same way. It should be a death penalty offense to sell drugs in your community. I'm just saying it how it is. In fact, in Christ's kingdom, it will be a death penalty offense. You think you're going to sell drugs in Christ's kingdom? Yeah, people wake up in the morning and they're going to see you hanging from a tree somewhere. See, what you don't understand is they still do this in some places. They get the evil. The Israelites got the evil from up out of there. So if it's somebody running around raping women, it's somebody selling drugs, it's somebody eating unclean food. We're about to get into that. And the judgment is coming. The priest is coming. He's at your door with the sword drawn, ready to chop your head off, right? It's the judgment of the Lord. It will be the law of the land. And you will not be able to be a witch, is what you are. You will not be able to be a drug dealer, flicking the wrist, cooking on the stove. You won't be able to do that in Christ's kingdom. You won't be able to do that. We'll get the evil from away from us, right? Let's get it. We're going to go into unclean food. Go into some of the law a little bit. If you could get Leviticus, what is that? 11? Yeah, let me get there with you. Go ahead.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 11, and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be cloven-footed and cheweth the cud? Anybody in the chat? Anybody that's watching class? What you think? What you got? If you could get the definition for cheweth the cud. Yeah. So everybody can get an understanding. We're gonna break it down.
It says the definition of chew the cud. Ponder over mediate, as in John tends to chew the cud before he answers. Let me chew that over and let you know the first. Okay, I don't think that's it. Oh, so like it. Cud chewing often can be used as an indicator of the health of a dairy herd. Cows who do not chew their cuds enough may milk fat test, may become lame or
Well, let me give it to you. That's not what I want. But biblically, what it means, you got something?
is it like the mammals, how they get breastfed from their mothers?
No, any animal that cheweth the cud is an animal. Animals that they have like a second stomach. So when they eat the food, right, it comes back up and they chew it again, right? That's what cheweth the cud mean. Like particularly like animals like that will eat, you know, grass and things of that nature. So cows, lambs, uh, animals of that nature. So you have some animals that you won't that are clean that you probably wouldn't think was a clean animal is something like a giraffe. Giraffe is an animal that we could eat, right? It's a clean animal, but giraffes are not in North America, right? And I don't think anybody, you know, you hear about some giraffe. I don't think nobody would want any giraffe. Also, go read it one more time.
Whatsoever parted the hoof,
Uh-huh.
hoof, hoof and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
So cloven footed, right? So you know what a cloven foot is. It's like a little hoof with the two little things on it. Cloven footed, right? And cheweth the cud. Those things you can eat. Keep reading.
Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of that cheweth. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, and is unclean unto you.
So these are some animals. They don't chew the cuff. So like it. They don't. What's another word for it? I don't want to say regurgitate, but they don't chew if the cud, but they have a cloven foot. And then you have some that have a that do chew the do chew if the cud, but they don't have a cloven foot. They have to have both of those prerequisites in order to be a clean beast. Go ahead.
And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but
The
divideth-
coney.
And the coney, because
Mhm.
he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto
I'm gonna pull up some of these animals.
So I can keep going.
So the coney is just it's basically a species of rabbit. That's it. So a lot of these animals that we're going to be reading about, they're specific in your mind, but really they constitute a whole species of animal. So a coney is a name for a different type of rabbit, just as such as a hare, right? Keep reading.
Verse 6. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
Right. Keep going.
Verse 7. And the swine, though he divideth the hoof and be cloven footed,
Oh, we know that. We know the pig is unclean, but keep reading.
and the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
He is unclean to you, right? And a lot of Black and Hispanic people, we love swine. We love pig's flesh. We had it in slavery. The Hispanic brothers love the carnitas. They put with the beans, they cook it in lard. A lot of recipes in the Black community, especially soul food, is cooked in lard or flavored with bacon, flavored with something from a pig, right? We can't get enough of it, but we suffer. We also suffer from it. And it's like this: everything that is good doesn't mean that it's good for you. It's the reason why we suffer from the things that we eat. And of course, pig is one of the most, what is it? It's the cheapest, one of the cheapest foods you can buy. And that's a problem with and just being in hell, being in America. The things that are affordable are the things that are bad for you. The things that are the most affordable foods are the things that are horrible for your body. such as fast food, such as pork. And I couldn't stand my grandma used to make pork chops. I could not stand pork chops. I couldn't stand I love bacon though. I couldn't stand pork links. It used to make me dizzy in the head, make me nauseous for some. I didn't know then when I was younger, but I know now why I couldn't stand pork like that. And then of course, when it comes around the holidays, you got the honey ham, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. It's in our it's ingrained in programmed to us in us to eat pork, right? It's in us just from being here in America, right? Let me get 1 second. Let me pull this up. Go ahead, Salaki, you can keep reading. I'm gonna pull up the animals as we go, but I'm not fast enough.
8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you.
They are unclean to you. Pigs are an unclean animal. I actually seen a pig at a farm. We had a farm on our high school, right? A little agriculture class, and they had like a 600-pound pig just wallowing and laying in its own feces, and it would just eat anything. It would eat a ball. It would eat a soccer ball that was flat. Eat it and then regurgitate it and then eat it again. Right? They have pictures on the internet of pigs eating deceased people. So a pig really doesn't give a damn. A pig is going to eat anything. And what we got to understand as Black and Hispanic people, see, we don't like to deal with reality and logic. Is that the Lord created some animals are created just to keep the ecosystem going, just to keep things moving smoothly. Like we hate flies. I can't stand for a damn fly to buzz by my ear. I can't stand a fly. If I'm in the house and if a fly comes, oh, he's gonna die. It's a wrap. But flies have a purpose, right? Flies help in the management of dead and dying things by laying maggots, and the maggots eat the flesh, right? Everything has a reason to be here, and then some things are just created for the ecosystem, such as pigs. Pigs are like a garbage disposal. Did you know that? I think this was like in the 60s, probably the 50s. This was a practice that they would take garbage to pig farms so that the pigs can eat the garbage. That was a practice. You understand? I'm not saying that's the reason why you shouldn't eat it. You shouldn't eat it because the Lord said it was unclean. I'm just telling you the purpose of a pig was never for it to be eaten. Its flesh never was to be eaten, because what it does is it helps the ecosystem. It is a garbage disposal of the earth. That's what a pig is here for, right? For you to give it the refuse, the things you don't want, the trash, the food you want to throw away, even decaying animals, right? Just to get rid of it. That's what a pig's purpose is. And a pig does, and when a pig eats these things, these poisonous things or these contaminated things, it goes right into the flesh of the pig, and then you eat it. I know you learned that in what happens in elementary with the food chain. The plankton that are sick get ate by the fish. He gets sick. Then the shark comes and eat the fish, and he gets sick. That's our reality in America. That's our reality up under Christianity, because Christianity said, hell, you can eat whatever you want. Just pray over your food. You'll be all right. So you mean now I can eat what is it? Broccoli beef rat? I can eat rat now. I can eat bat soup. I just pray over it. I can eat roadkill and opossum and snake and alligator. Black people be eating some stuff, man. We be eating some stuff in these other states. I heard down in Florida they be eating all kind of stuff, right? Keep reading.
Verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters.
Now we're talking about the things from the water. Whatever has what?
Whatever hath fins, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas.
Whatever has fins and scales in the waters, you can eat. Right? Go ahead.
Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, and of all that move in the waters,
Excuse me.
and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. Verse 11. They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcass in abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you.
So these things should be an abomination to you. Anything that doesn't have fins or scales, and then you see with the Asians, they'll eat anything out to sea. Literally any of those things. I'm talking about crabs, crustaceans. What's those things that they be on the side of the pier? They just grow on like on the side. Mollusk, is that what they call? What? Mussels, yeah. Barnacles. They'll eat anything out of the sea, right? Like this picture right here. This lady now she's eating she was trying to eat a live octopus, and the sucker started sucking on her, right? But the point is that these things are unclean to us, man. I don't even know why you would want to put that in your body, right? And that's how I'm just saying, I'm not about to I'm not trying to get my life knocked down. But the media reported, right? How did the media report coronavirus got here? A bat suit. That's how they saying that. So there's a reason why the Lord said don't eat certain things, man. The Lord said don't eat it, then you shouldn't eat it. You shouldn't I shouldn't have to bring out the fat. I shouldn't have to tell you scientifically why you shouldn't be eating pork. I shouldn't have to tell you scientifically why you shouldn't be eating no bat. But the Lord said don't eat it. Only for the reason that the Lord said it's unclean to you. That's the only reason why you shouldn't be eating it. You know what I'm saying? And you eating all these damn, animals, then you wonder why you sick, and you wonder why diseases is spreading, when in reality, they're just unclean. They were not meant to be eaten. Now, if you're another nation, if it's somebody else from another nation, they can do these things. They can, you see, they don't have any issues. They can eat all of the, crustaceans and bats and rats and cats and dogs. They can eat those things and they don't suffer any consequences. You know what I mean? But when you, as Black and Hispanic people, being the chosen people of the Most High, when you eat those things, you're gonna suffer, man. You're gonna suffer. It's gonna be something that you won't forget. You better hope you don't lose your life from eating some of these things, right? Because another thing that we love that's in the ocean, especially down south, is crab and shrimp and lobster. We love those things. These are cockroaches of the sea. They do the same job that a pig would do, or that a fly would do, or that a rat or a rodent would do, that will come along and eat something that's dead. There was a video where they showed you how you can catch crabs just by yourself by going out in a boat in the middle of the ocean, dropping the cage down with some chicken wings, and before you know it, it'd be covered in crabs. They run to decaying flesh. They can smell it. So that same piece of chicken that they put in the ocean that they run into, that chicken, imagine that's a dead body. That's a whale floating to the bottom of you know what I'm saying? That's a shark floating to the bottom of the ocean. That's a seal. That's a person laying at the bottom of the ocean. And guess how they're going to disappear? By crabs, lobsters, and crayfish. The same thing that America calls a delicacy. That's crazy. America calls it a delicacy, but it used to be something looked at as gross. Do your research, do your history on seafood, and they used to look at crabs and lobster as being something gross. Somehow it changed in America. Somehow it changed to, it's a delicacy. Or you spending good money, you eating good because you got some bottom feeders from the sea, right? Keep reading.
Verse 13. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind.
There's some of these things, man. I mean, I know we got to have these laws, but you can just look at some of these birds and you can tell they not edible. They eat. We talking about birds of prey. We talking about birds that eat other birds. Vultures that eat any damn thing. A vulture eat a dead elephant. A vulture will eat anything, right? Matter of fact, a vulture will sense that someone's about to die, and they just fly around in circles and wait for that thing to drop dead so they can come and eat it, right? Keep reading.
Verse 16. And the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cacao, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the gray owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. All fowls that creep going upon all four shall be an abomination unto you.
So these things are abomination to eat, right? These things are something that you should stray away from. Keep reading.
Verse 21. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them ye may eat. The locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind.
So these are things that you can eat. I mean, once again, that's not something that's considered food here in America, in the hell that we live in, and in this society. But it is lawful to eat if you ever found yourself hungry. You was out in the wilderness somewhere, and that was the only thing there. You could eat that, right? Go ahead.
And the beetle after his kind.
And the beetle. Who knew, right? Go ahead.
And the grasshopper after his kind.
Listen, the young man shook his head like, nah, but you really never know what you'll be willing to eat when your stomach is touching, right? Black and Hispanic people, we are spoiled in America, right? Because you got these other countries where people don't know where their next meal is coming. His brothers and sisters in other countries, they don't know where their next meal is coming from, right? And Black and Hispanics and Native Indians in America, y'all ain't getting any leaner. Y'all don't look like y'all losing weight, right? You ain't missing no. Black and Hispanic people don't look like they missing meals. The only time a Black and Hispanic person look like they missing meals is when they're on drugs. Literally, when you're on drugs, that's when you look like like you're missing a couple of sandwiches or two. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, we don't understand what it is to actually be hungry. But you was hungry, you'll be eating some of these things. You'll reconsider quickly. Go ahead.
Verse 23. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until he eat it. Whosoever beareth out of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening.
So if you touch these things, pick these things up, the carcasses of these unclean things, you would have been unclean until the evening time. So if you could you light instant again? Yeah. So when it comes to what's clean and unclean, it's right in the Bible. What you should eat, the proper diet, I mean, it's self-explanatory. A lot of the health issues that we have in our community come from exactly the things that we put in our body. And so the Lord prescribed the things that we should and shouldn't eat. but man have carved out his own things of what's good and what's not good, and what is a delicacy, what is something that is very sought, very exquisite, and all of that crap. But in reality, man, stick to the law, statutes, and commandments. Stick to the law, what the Bible says, and we'll be okay as far as what we eat and what we put in our body. We're about to move on. I want to get into the book of Job. We're going to go over Job. All right. Let me get here real quick. Job chapter 1. I'll tell you why I want to go over Job. This is just get Job chapter 1. This is the thing, man. There's been a lot of things happening in the nation with brothers and sisters, falling on hard times, car accidents, health issues, tragedies, things of that nature, right? As Black and Hispanic people being in the truth, and you come into this truth understanding that you have an oath to the Most High. You come into this truth understanding that things are not going to be like easy. They're actually going to be harder. Things are not going to change as far as what happens to you versus somebody that's in a world that don't subscribe to the truth or don't know the truth, right? It's going to be worse. It's going to be harder. You understand? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. That's when you really going to get tested. That's when the real test come. In the world, there was no damn test. You ain't getting tested in the world. You smoking weed, ain't nobody testing you. You listen, you're not getting tested, but I guarantee you the axe is at the roots. The death angel is at the door. You getting kicked out of your apartment is right out the door, right around the corner. You getting in a car accident is right around the corner. But it ain't no testing you, right? There's no fight when you're in the world. When you give your life to the Most High and you pledge that oath, that's when the test comes. That's when we really want to see, or should I say not us, but the Most High want to see what are you really about? Are you a coward? Right? When the first thing happened to you, are you going to give up? Are you going to turn your back on the school? You're going to turn your back on the brothers and sisters. The minute that you see something that, maybe you didn't think the truth was like that. Maybe you thought that when you came into the truth, everybody is supposed to be, singing and dancing and clapping their hands like the Christian church. And something just turns you the wrong way. And that little thing was enough, right? Let me get that book of Job. I'm going to get into it.
The book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job.
Mm-hmm.
And that man was perfect and upright.
Job was perfect and upright. He was upright. That's something that we as Black, like we always looking for. Like this brother just got shot. The brother with the rapper. What's his name again? P&B. P&B. The brother P&B. I don't want to butcher his name. The brother in P&B just got shot. Now you got Black people talking about how can we fix our community? How can we do this? How can we do that? Read that again. This is how we do it.
There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright.
He was perfect and upright. If you ask a Black man, can you put down the weed? He can't do that. If you ask him, can you stop chasing hoes? He can't do that. If you ask him, can you forgive a brother that's trespassed against you? He can't do that. In order to fix our problems, you got to be upright. You got to be righteous. You got to be willing to be righteous. Point blank. You can't be talking about, yeah, we're going to build this foundation and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're going to, change the community. No change will come. All of that work will be in vain if the Lord ain't with you. And the Lord could only be with you if, number one, you keep them law, statutes, and commandments. And number two, you be perfect and upright. Keep reading.
And one that feared God.
He fear of God. A lot of y'all fear going broke. You fear getting kicked out of your apartment. You fear if you're going to get a job or not. You fear all of these things that have no bearing on your actual situation. The only one single thing that has a bearing is the Most High. That's who you should fear. That is the maker and creator of earth that can make things move for you. A lot of times we talk about, getting a bag and all that. Did you know that the Bible say on the sudden a Lord can make a man rich? Like that, overnight. For the Lord to make you comfortable and to have the things you want, it's nothing to the Lord. But what are you willing to give up for it? What are you willing to do for it? Keep reading.
And one that feared God and eschewed evil. Verse 2. When they were born
He feared the Most High and he eschewed evil. Meaning Job, he didn't want to be around nobody doing nothing wicked or nothing stupid, nothing foolish. He looked down on that, right? He got away from that. He avoided evil. That's like you got to avoid your family that want to go hit licks and want to go rob rappers that come into town. You got to avoid them. You got to avoid, your girlfriend that wants to talk about she should start an OnlyFans page showing her feet. What the hell is that? I don't even understand. You want to be a half of a hoe. You want to be part-time hoe. You want to get the benefits of a hoe, but not go all the way in. And it's all the same. It's all the same because the people that are looking at it and viewing you, they're there for sexual deviant reasons. So it's still prostitution. No matter if you just, putting your feet on there, or I don't know what they do, put their breasts on there. But you got to avoid people like that want to go talking about going to do OnlyFans or work in a strip club. You got to avoid evil. You got to avoid people in your family, friends you done grew up with your whole life, people who you think is your ace one boon coons. You have to avoid evil no matter what, right? The Bible says that Job eschewed evil. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. Verse 3.
7 sons and 3 daughters. It's a big family, man. Go ahead.
Verse 3. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she asses and a very great household.
So Job had, in our terms, Job had the bag. Job had bread. When the Bible is talking about all of these herds and flocks, that's money. That's a lot of money. Y'all look at social media and people showing you all their cars or their cribs. Job had more than that. He had flocks and flocks of animals, right? That he could eat off of, he could sell. Whenever it talks about somebody having that type of livestock, these people they're wealthy, right? Go ahead.
So this man was the greatest of all the men of the East.
He was the greatest of all the men. Meaning he was that was doing it big, and nobody was doing it like Job. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Verse 5. And it was so, when the days of their feast were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offering according to the number of them all.
So Job's children, they had a good life. They had a father that was prosperous, and they did what children do that come up in a stead in a heritage like that. They had a good time and partied on their days. And Job, what he would do is get up and he would pray for his children. Go ahead.
For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus did Job continually.
So Job got up. Now there's two things in this. Job, he said, what if it was something that my daughters or my sons did that was against the Lord? I wanna pray for that, and sanctify my children that they don't curse the Lord. So he was a thoughtful man. You know what I mean? He didn't just have a lot of children, he loved his children, right? And on the flip side, you come into this truth, you have family that you love with all your heart. And you have family that they're doing certain things, or they live a lifestyle. They know you in the truth. They know what you're about. They even kind of agree with the truth, but they still live their life. They still, do what they do. And you put up prayers for them. You put up prayers for those brothers and sisters in your family, your friends, or whoever, because you love them and they ain't living right. But you still put up those prayers for them. Maybe they come into the truth. Maybe one day they'll walk into the door and sit in class, or maybe they'll tune in online. You know what I mean? But that the Lord cover them, though. That's what Job was doing also, because that's how that maybe his children wasn't all the way righteous. Maybe they just did their thing. They had a wealthy father. They was prosperous. He said, "I'm gonna put up some prayers for them." That happens. I know I do it. That's something that we all have done in the truth, is pray for our loved ones and our families and our friends that are not in the truth, that they live a lifestyle that we know is contrary to the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Now peep this. There was a day when what? Read it one more time. For the Christian church. Go ahead.
There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
So there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves to the Lord, and Satan came with them, right? Satan came in with the angels to present themselves in front of the Lord. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, "Whence comest thou?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it."
So the Lord said to Satan, where you came from? Satan said, "I've been everywhere, up and down, to and fro. I've been in these streets. I've been ripping and running all over the earth." Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?"
So the Lord asking Satan about Job, have you considered him? You see how righteous this brother is, how strong he is. Go ahead.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side?"
So what precept is that? Is that the end of it?
No,
Go ahead.
"Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land."
So Satan said he don't love you for nothing. You done blessed him. He got a hedge of protection. He is like the richest man. Like he only love you because he got all those things. You know what I'm saying? He only love you because he good. You know what I'm saying? And to a certain extent, that's how it is when it comes to Christianity. Because when things are good, God is on your side, right? When things are good, that's how the Christian mind thinks. God is with me. I'm blessed. And then when things are bad, the devil is a lie. The devil, he working on me, right? And that's the a Christian mind state that a lot of black people have. When they get something, they say, "Oh, I'm blessed. The Lord blessed me. I got a new car. I'm blessed. I got approved, y'all. I'm blessed." You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now, and thou touch all that he had,
Mhm.
and he will curse thee to thy face.
So Satan is saying, okay, he's righteous and all that, but it's not for nothing. He got you done, gave him the bag. He done got many flocks. He's prosperous. But put forth your hand, meaning do something to him, take something away from him, and let's see how he gonna respond. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he had is in thine power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
So the Lord gave Satan permission to take all that he have. He gave him permission. Meaning, this is the point I was making about Christians at the beginning of the precept, is that Satan doesn't do anything without the Lord giving the order for him to do that. Satan can't do anything, right? Satan is on the left hand of the Most High. Christ sits on the right hand of the Most High. Satan he's a device to test you, to turn you away from the Most High, but he can't do anything unless the Most High gives the order. That's what you got to know. Go ahead.
So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Verse 13. And there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said,
Mm-hmm.
The oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabines fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
So a day came where the Sabians, another people, came and fell on Job's servants and took all of his oxen, right? What did it say? His oxen, and killed the servants, and only one survived to come back and tell Job, right? So that was like a lot of wealth just taken out of his hand, right? Go ahead.
Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said,
Now, while this servant was speaking, another servant came and said, "Go ahead."
The fire of God is fallen from heaven and hath burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
So the fire of the Most High, lightning, came down and burnt up everything, and only one servant was alive to tell him. So as this is happening, you seeing everything that he got. I mean, meaning material right now is being taken away from him as he's getting the reports. Go ahead.
Verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands and found the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword.
Good night. Now the Chaldeans then came, the Babylonians then came and took the camels, and then killed all of those servants, and only one survived. Keep reading.
Yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Verse 18. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house.
Now this is another servant then came. Now 3 servants. Now the 4th servant then came with another report. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house.
So a great wind from the wilderness came and hit the 4 corners of the house, something like a tornado or something. Go ahead.
And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
And so the house fell on his kids, and they are dead, and only the servant was alive to tell Job. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head.
So it says after that, after hearing all of that, all of his, his wealth, and then all his children, Job got up, he ripped his mantle. Mantle would be like a cloak over your head. He ripped it and he shaved his head. This was a custom in Israel when you were mourning to shave your head and put dust and ashes on your head, right? Go ahead.
Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, Naked came out of my mother's womb,
Mm.
and naked shall I return thither.
Good night. So Job took it in stride. He said, I came out of my mother's womb with nothing, and I'm gonna leave here with nothing. I know you heard that saying before. He responded unlike a normal person would respond, or unlike somebody that does not serve the Most High or fear the Most High would respond. Go ahead.
The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away.
The Lord gave, and He is taken away. So He kept it in perspective. He said, all of this stuff that I had, whether it be the material things or my children, the Lord gave me those things, and He took it away. Can you imagine how strong you got to be to have that type of spirit? I don't know if somebody can come and tell me that in one moment all my children were dead, how I would respond. You understand? That is something like, forget about the material things, but your children, all of them at once. Go ahead.
Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all this, Job sinned not.
He said, blessed be the name of the Lord. Go ahead.
And in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly.
So in all this, Job sinned not. He didn't do anything. He didn't break any laws according to the Bible, nor did he charge the Most High foolishly, which a lot of times in our communities, that's what we do. We get angry at the Most High for allowing something to happen. We get angry at the Most High for taking someone out of our life, right? We get angry at the Most High and say things that if we knew the Most High, we would not say. If we knew who He was and if we actually feared Him, we would not dare say, right? Keep reading.
Verse 1. So the book, keep going, second chapter.
Second chapter.
The book of Job, chapter 2 and verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
So now here's another council where the sons of God, the angels, is coming before the Lord, and Satan comes again before the Most High. Go ahead.
And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. Verse 2. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
So Satan once again says, listen, I've been all over, I've been everywhere. I've been in the streets. I've been up and down in the earth everywhere. You know what I mean? I've been looking and I've been seeing who I could test and what's my next, mission. And that's what I've been. See, he's looking everywhere to see who he can test, right? And who he can get. And he comes to the Most High and say, let me do this. And I bet you they won't serve you no more. They won't serve you the same after you allow me to take away some things, right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity.
This is the key. See, this is the same thing the Lord said, but this is after all of his possessions been taken and his children has been killed. He says he still holds his integrity. He still has his, his mind in the right place. This is what he's saying to Satan. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause.
He said, although you moveth me against him to destroy him without cause. Like Satan persuaded the Most High to allow him to do that, right? And just like there's a war council. I don't remember what king it was. It might be in 2 Kings, where if a brother can help me out, where the Lord sent an evil spirit to rouse up a king to go to war with another king. But the Lord allowed he was having a council in what we call the fourth dimension, what you call heaven. He was having a council with the elders or what they should do with this situation. And one of them said, I'll be a deceive. I think it was Saul. He said, I'll be a deceiving spirit in the ear of the king and make him rise up and go to war. So the Lord can be persuaded, just like in a war council. You know, in a war council, you have a general, commander, or whatever, and you have lieutenants and soldiers that say things that could persuade the commander to say, okay, let's go with that plan. Let's try this. Right. That's what's basically happened here with Job and with Satan and the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And Satan asked the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
So Satan came back slick. He said, skin for skin. Listen, you took his kids, you took his family, but that ain't nothing. Like a man will give up everything for his life. He'll give up his possessions and his kids for his life, but touch his bones and his flesh, right? But touch his health. See, that's one thing, even in this time, in this day and age, health is the most important thing of all. It's more important than money. There's nothing you can say that is more important than you having your health, than you being physically healthy, physically able to do things. What point is it in having money if you don't have your health? What point is it in, how can you even enjoy life if you don't have your health? People lose their legs and want to kill themselves because they just can't take a walk, right? Because they're in a wheelchair all day. Like, your health is everything, right? And without your health, listen, I remember one time, this is how long ago was that? Like 11, what was that? Like 9 years ago? It was about 9 years ago. I'm playing basketball. I go up to dunk. Well, I was with some youngsters, and I had stopped playing regularly. I go to catch a lob, and when I jumped, it felt like I got shot in the foot. And when I landed, I couldn't stand on my foot. Come to find out, I had ruptured my Achilles tendon. And I was in a cast for I don't know how long. And it started to mess with my mind because I started to think like I'm not going to be able to walk anymore. I'm not going to be able to walk the same anymore. I'm not going to be able to have the explosiveness that I once had. And it started to depress me, right? So eventually I got better, but I think about people that can't walk, people that can't do regular things because they got heart problems or anything that limits them. And you go back to your health. Your health is the most important thing for a good quality of life, right? You want to have a good quality of life, you need your health. That's Edomite that was he the co-founder of Apple? The Jobs, Steve Jobs. He died, but I don't know what was he dying of. He was dying of some cancer, billionaire probably. But the money didn't mean anything. Couldn't stop a goddamn thing, right? Because your health is everything, right? So Satan is saying, listen, you done took his possessions and all of that, skin for skin. Now touch his bones, touch his flesh. Let's see how you're gonna react now. Go ahead.
Verse 6. The Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. Verse 7.
The Lord said, listen, he's in your hand, but don't take his life. Go ahead.
So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown.
So Satan smote Job with sore boils. I don't have to show you it, but I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna give you an illustration. You probably ain't gonna like it, but I'm gonna give you an illustration. Let me put something up here. Now I want you to read. So, okay, let me get a better one. I want you to read that from the top again. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead. The same one that you just read.
Verse 7. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown.
So from his feet to his head, he smote him, meaning he gave him boils from the top to the bottom, right? It's a boil. Monkeypox. Monkeypox, right? That's what he gave him. From the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. Job was smote with these boils. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal.
So he took like a shirt, like a broken pot, pieces of the pot, to scrape his boils, because they was just to itch him, right? That's how bad it was. Go ahead.
And he sat down among the ashes.
And he sat down among the ashes, man. He sat down in the dust. Remember, the dust being a low state. He sat among the ashes in mourning. Took all of his wealth, all of his children died. Now he's hit with boils all over his body. Go ahead.
Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die.
Now his wife, this bitch, she said, you still got integrity? You still gonna be this so-called righteous man? Read it one more time. She told him to curse the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die.
She said, curse God and die. Die, nigga. Because you tore up from the floor up. You beat down. You down bad. Just call it, just cross it out. You know what I mean? Your God ain't real. Curse that nigga and you die. Because I don't know what else to tell you. That's the type of woman that he had. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Verse 10.
Can you imagine being on such of a hard time and your children passing away, you becoming poor, then you get hit with a physical illness, and your rib tell you to curse the Most High and die? Bitch, get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what in the hell is you here for? Right? The Bible says a woman was supposed to be a helpmeet. Go ahead.
Verse 10. What he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Damn right. He said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speak. You speaking like those women on the internet that say they don't need a man. You speaking like one of those women that say, listen, I don't believe in God. The black woman is God. God is in you. I have babies, so I'm God. That's what you sound like when you tell a righteous man that's been hit with adversity to curse the Most High and just die. Go ahead.
What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job say with his lips.
So Job said to her, what? I'm just going to receive good from the Most High? Like, I know it's been good. I know I had multiple flocks. I know I had beautiful children, very fruitful. I know I was in good health. These are all good things. So I'm just supposed to receive all good things and never nothing bad happened to me? Man, that's a righteous man, brother. That is righteous. And you know what else is righteous? You know what else is righteous? It's okay for you to think about the things that could happen. I do. Commander General Yohana does. It's okay, even in the truth, to think about, let me get the scripture, but to think about things that possibly could happen. Right? And I'm talking about bad things. Your mind ain't always supposed to be on all the good and think that things are supposed to be good all the goddamn time. That is not reality, right? Give me 1 second. Bear with me. There's a scripture. I don't know if it's in Ecclesiastes. Give me Ecclesiastes 7:7. That's not what I want, but let me see. Is it the day of death?
What you want? Ecclesiastes?
7:1. Give me 7:1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment,
Mm-hmm.
and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
So it says a good name is better than precious ointment. Having your good name, a good reputation. Go ahead.
And the day of death than the day of one's birth.
And the day of death is better than the day of your birth. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning
That's what I want. Go ahead.
than to go to the house of feasting.
It is better to go to the house of mourning than in the house of feasting. Go ahead.
For that is the end of all. For that is the end of all men.
Mm-hmm.
And the living will lay into his heart.
And it's better to go to the day of mourning to think about your death. It's nothing wrong with you to think about, maybe I should drive, reasonable today, because people do die on their way to work on the freeway every morning. Maybe I should, I don't know what I would do. Let me keep a good eye on my kids while we're at the beach, because kids do drown at the beach. And people say, do you think about things like that? Yes, I do think about things like that. My mind is there. I do consider the goodness and the good things that the Lord does for me, or the things that have happened to me. But I also consider what the negative things that could happen. That is very smart. The Bible tells you that's what you should do. Read it from the top again, but I think it was verse 2.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting.
It is better to go to the house of mourning, meaning to go to the house where somebody has just died, than the house where people are having a good day, having a good time, and partying. A day party. You know what I'm saying? Just living it up. Living it up, doing all of those things, and just having a good time. Go ahead.
And the day of death, for that is the end of all men.
Because the end of all men is that you are going to be in a casket. That's the end of all men. You're going to be put in the ground in a casket, and that is the day of your death. That is what the Bible just said. The day of death is better than the day of birth. Go ahead.
For that is the end of all men.
That is the end of all men. I don't give a damn if you're some unknown brother in Inglewood that is trying to find a way to come up or rob somebody, or if you're a rapper that is visiting the city of Los Angeles and going to Roscoe's and Chicken and Waffles. You both have the same ending. Your ending is going to be the same. You understand? Queen Elizabeth ending is the same as some nigga that you don't care about that lives across the street. It's the same. It's the same. The pharaohs in Egypt, their ending was the same as any brother living today. Right? Keep reading.
And the living will lay it to his heart.
The living, if you're alive, the Bible also says that what is it? What does it say? A lion, a dead, a dog that is alive is better than a dead lion, right? The living will lay it to heart, meaning you will contemplate and you will ponder these things about life. You will be careful about the things you do in life because you ponder your end. You ponder the end of all people, right? You think about these things. Now I want you to go back to Job.
The book of Job, chapter 2 and verse 11. Now when Job's three friends, now when Job's three friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite.
Right. So now his friends, they just live in different cities. And so it's similar to like you know, I'm from Los Angeles, you from New York, you know what I mean? Yeah, are more like because I think in New York they say you know, Brooklynite. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from Brooklyn, you from Harlem. You know what I mean? His friends lived in different cities. It doesn't mean they were a different nationality. That's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
For they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him.
So his friends made an appointment to come see about him and to comfort their friend. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. They looked at Job from far away and they didn't even recognize their friend. They started crying right there because they didn't even recognize their friend because of how his health condition. Go ahead. And they rent everyone his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven.
And they all mourn. And like I said, the custom of Israelites to mourn was to rip your mantle and sprinkle dust on your head. Right? Go ahead.
So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great.
So they sat down with him for 7 days and 7 nights looking at Job, but they realized it's not a good time to say nothing to him because they could see in his eyes how hurt he was and how broken his spirit was. Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 3 and verse 1. After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which I was said.
So Job in this verse, Job starts to curse the day that he was born. He starts to hate and talk negatively about the day that he was born, that he wished he didn't even see the light of day. He wished that he was not born, and that that day is a day of darkness. So he's like going into a state of depression, right? Almost. Go ahead. But let me just say this. At no time did he curse the Most High or he go against the Most High in his understanding of, you know, why was I even born? When he starts talking about this day that he was born and talking down on the day, he does not at one time curse the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. Verse 4. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for the night, let darkness seize upon it.
I want you to skip down to verse 16 for time's sake.
Verse 16. Or as in hidden untimely birth had not been, as infants which never saw life.
He said he wishes the day of his birth would have been like being a stillborn infant, never even seeing the light of day. Go ahead.
Verse 17. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there was a whereby, and there the weary be at rest.
So he said, in that time, somebody not being born, the wicked they cease from being troubling, and the weary, meaning the meek, they at rest. He said he wished the day of his birth was like that, where it ain't nothing going on. There's no trouble, and everything is at rest. Go ahead.
There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor.
Ooh, he said the prisoners rest together. The prisoners, the number one in prison. I'm not gonna go into that, but he said the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. Meaning the oppressor doesn't, the oppression that you go through. Listen, the day that I was born, I wish it was like where you don't even hear that. I wish I don't even hear it. The prisoners being locked up, we at rest, man. Go ahead.
Verse 19. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master.
And the servant is free from his master, man. And in a day where like an infant child that's stillborn, I don't even exist. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul.
He said, why is light given to him that is in misery? Why do I know these things? Why is it that I have the light to understand these things, and life unto the bitter soul, right? Why live in such bitterness? You can imagine how bitter you will be when you go through things. You can imagine how bitter it is to have tragedy in your life. This one, that one, this one, that one. Everything happened like that. You can imagine what your mind state would be like. I hope you can, because the Bible says that you should think about things like that. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than hid for treasures, than for hid treasures.
Skip down to verse 24.
Verse 24. For my sign cometh before I eat.
He said, my sign cometh before I eat. A lot of y'all have pleasure. In America, eating food is pleasurable.
Right.
Eating food is like, I'm about to dig in, right? He said he sighs before he eats. Eating is just, just to fuel your body, just to put something in your stomach so it doesn't hurt. That's what eating is to him. Go ahead.
For my sign cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters.
And he said, my roarings are poured out like the waters. And he hollers and he roars for what he's lost and the pain, the physical pain that he's going through. Go ahead.
For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me.
He said, for the thing that I greatly feared has come upon me. Man, there's some things that we greatly fear in this world. I brought it up earlier when we talked about the state of Black men, the state of Hispanic men, the street life, gang banging, those things where you live a life. And it's not just if you're in that life, it's everybody in the neighborhood. You live a life where you have no assurance of your life. Everything scares you. Everything got you on your P's and Q's. Everything is got you alarmed. And you live a life where it's really not a life, right? It's really not a life, because a real life, you would be at peace. A real life, you don't have to worry about whether or not your brother from around the corner is going to come around the corner and blow your goddamn head off. That's a real life. But Black and Hispanic people live in a constant state of survival, a constant state of paranoia, right? And that's our life in America. Go ahead, read 25 again.
For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me.
And being a righteous brother and sister, you should think about the things that can come upon you. You should think about it. Many things have happened to brothers and sisters in the last few weeks in the truth. Things have come upon brothers and sisters. Things have come upon me in the truth, right? But I remember that oath that I gave to the Lord. I remember that I want to get that crown put on my head. I want Christ to put a crown on my head, and I want to step in those chariots. You understand? So whatever it may be that you're going through, or whatever things happen, tragedies, death, unexpected things, these things are very little to the reward that we will receive when a black man named Jesus Christ returned to the earth. With that, I'm gonna pass the class. Salakia. With that, we're gonna end the class. And you know what? We didn't get verse 26. Give me verse 26. Salakia, Israel.
Verse 26. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came.
He said, I was not in safety. I was living good. I was living large. My kids was well off. I had my health, but I was not in safety. I served the Lord. I feared the Lord. Job didn't know that, but the Lord spoke highly of Job. He told Satan, is there anybody like this? He that feareth the Lord and escheweth evil. None of those things don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean you're not gonna get tested. Don't come in the truth thinking that you're not gonna get tested. Don't come into the truth thinking that you know things are gonna be blase. Things are gonna be like the Christian church. This is not Christianity. Life is about warfare. The Lord is a man of war. Exodus 15:3, right? The Lord is a man of war. So you're gonna have to persevere, and you're gonna have to defeat demons. You're gonna have to fight your flesh. You're gonna have to fight things on a daily basis. You're gonna have to fight those thoughts that come up in your damn mind that all of y'all want to put on Facebook. You're gonna have to fight. If you don't want to fight for your mind state and for your integrity, you are going to lose. You are going to lose. I'm just keeping it real. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to shun some people that you love. You're going to have to ignore friends and family. You're going to have to not subscribe to everything that somebody is talking about or trying to do that you grew up with, right? You can't, but in this truth, you can't expect for you not to have any issues, or there not to be any temptations, or there not to be any tribulations or trials. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen once you commit yourself to the Lord and stop playing, right? Once you stop playing and you say, you know what? I know I'm in the right place. This is the truth, and I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do this truth. That's when everything is going to happen. But I'm preparing you, and listen, the ISUPK is preparing you to keep your mind and meditate on those things and think about the things that could happen. Think about the things, the issues and the trials of life that could come up. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it could happen. We're reading about Job, who was a righteous man, and look what was put on him. And he persevered, and he didn't curse the Most High, and he kept his integrity. Black and Hispanic men, you're going to have to do the same thing. If you want for the Black community to change, we got the answers in the ISUPK. WAC 100 don't got the answers. Louis Farrakhan don't got the answers. None of these entertainers, actors, celebrities, politicians, they don't got the answers. We have the answers to fix the Black and Hispanic community. They're right here in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. They're right here. You just got to come here, sit in class, listen, apply these scriptures. Hell, If you don't believe, do your goddamn research, do your research, and then come back and try to refute us on anything that's in the Bible. If we just apply some of the basic commandments, we could change the Black and Hispanic community overnight. But we don't want to do that, right? I'm not going to keep talking. But these are the things that you got to consider. You got to consider that there is going to be a battle. It's going to be warfare within your mind and within your body. And if things happen in your life like they have happened, this is just a test, right? And count yourself worthy to be tested. With that, I'm going to end the class. Shalom, Israel. Clap it up. Time is at 9. Also, Israel, make sure I'll be back. So I'm back. I'll be back next Wednesday. Make sure you pay your tithes. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you put them prayers up for your loved ones. Tune in to the radio show with Commander General Yohana Black Watch on Monday. Most likely, hopefully, we'll be at camp. This weekend. It's been some bad weather. It's been a heat wave. It's been raining. It's been nasty. But yeah, we're about to get up out of here. Shalom.